There's no better way to kick off your weekend than picking up a free Sony Trinitron, and that's exactly how my Saturday started. I was pretty excited to test out all my favorite games on this one, and the picture definitely didn't let me down this time. In fact, I would say that this Trinitron has probably a near perfect picture. This is a KV-20S40 from 1999. It was a free donation from a friend of my family, and it came with the original remote. The set was extremely clean and looked to be in mint condition. Even though it's just a vanilla plain Jane 90s Trinitron with composite as the highest input, I really love this tube. The colors looked dialed in so perfectly I didn't have to do any adjustments at all. The grid was nice and squared up except for some minor vertical bowing along the right side. It's definitely not a detriment though. The only thing that I really had to do was just reduce the contrast and brightness to give the picture the sharpest possible look. The default settings on most Trinitrons is to max out the contrast, which will cause a blooming effect. This makes the white text at the top of Mario have a blurry look to it. I usually keep the contrast as low as possible on my Sonys in order not to just preserve the tube, but to give the sharpest look possible. If you go too low, it's too dark, but if you go too high, you get blooming. This is how I dialed in both the contrast and brightness, and it worked out great. I really love the shape and cosmetic look of this TV. It has a nice flat top and was very clean on the outside. Whenever I get time, I'll need to blow out the inside because it had a lot of dust, so it's likely a high-hour set. Let's go ahead and play a few of my favorite games and see what this thing is made of. Starting off with Streets of Rage 1, we see that this S40 handles the Genesis composite signal like a champ. Everything looked very crisp and clean, and this is one game that really requires good scrolling. Since the Sony does have perfect scrolling, I would definitely say this game shined very well. My first time playing Streets of Rage was actually on a cheap emulator plug-and-play and not original hardware. But once I played it on authentic equipment, I quickly fell in love with the simple beat-em-up action. One thing I always check is the straightness of the yellow box at the top, but everything looked great and I was really happy with the geometry. When you get really close, the lowered contrast gives it such a sharp and clean look. Mario 64 is a timeless classic and really shows off how vibrant the colors look on the Sony. I played this game for years during middle school and it was my all-time favorite racing game. I still play Mario Kart 8 on the Switch every once in a while, but even though this is a more primitive entry in the series, it's definitely my personal favorite. From what I learned, this TV hadn't been turned on and used in well over 15 years, so I was really nervous at first when it looked a bit out of focus. But after a few hours of warming up and with some basic menu adjustments, the tube quickly came to life and it looked absolutely amazing. It's no secret that I love a good Trinitron, and I've seen many that look terrible. But when you get your hands on a really strong CRT that's free, I stopped caring that it lacked S-video and component and just play whatever inputs it has. Even though I do support chasing a good picture and not a brand or a model, it would be nice to showcase a good condition JVC-D series at some point in the future. But because those sets are very rare, if it never happens, it's really not a big deal. I started this channel about a couple months ago because I had all these CRTs sitting around and I wanted to make the types of videos that I personally enjoyed watching. I've got some more ideas for more videos and I'd like to do something related to an S-video mod of my FS100. I recently just hit 100 subscribers, so I wanted to thank you all for the support that I've gotten. I honestly thought this would be a dead channel, and maybe my standards are really low, but it's doing better than I actually expected. Feel free to leave me a like and a comment, and I'll do my best to keep the content coming. I still keep an eye out for more CRTs to add to my collection, but it has been a bit dry in my area. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.